Okay, I'm gonna say Logan Paul 1,000 times to get Kerim to join my Clash of Clans clan. So I have a piece of paper, and for every 10 that I say, I will put a mark on it. I just had to test the pen out. So I'll put a mark on it for every 10 Logan Pauls. I gotta find a way to prop up my camera. Use my wallet. Yeah, that works. Okay, here we go. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul. Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul. That's 660. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. And I'm holding the pen up so you can see I'm not like writing hundreds. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. And there's 10. So that was 100 Logan Pauls. Just to let you see it, there's 10 marks on the paper. So that was 10 Logan Pauls. Now to do, or 100 Logan Pauls. Now to do 900 more. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Fuck. I did not prepare for this. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. This is so stupid. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. This is actually kind of getting hard. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Alright, so that is 25 Logan Pauls done. 75 to go. 25 means 250, by the way, because it's one for every 10. So that was 250 Logan Pauls. I guess that counts as another one. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, no, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, no, Logan Paul, Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. I forgot his name for a second. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. God. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. I need to take a break or something. I cannot fucking do this. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 times 5. That's 50 marks right there. And 50 times 10 Logan Pauls, that was 500 Logan Pauls. So I just said Logan Paul 500 times. And to celebrate the halfway point, how the fuck is this gonna stay up? Fuck. How did I do this before? Fuck. Midpoint celebration. Fuck yeah. Oh, that almost hit my eye. Alright, let's keep going. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Why the fuck am I doing this? Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Literally, I swear to God, fucking Kerim, if you watched up to this point and you don't fucking join the clan, I swear to God, I'm gonna beat your ass, alright? Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Oh shit, that fan up there is really fucking bright. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Cancer, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. I said like Ligam Poe, whatever. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. I think that was 10. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Fuck. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. 1, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 75, guys. 75 strikes. How the fuck can I get that in camera? Fuck. 75 strikes times 10. 750 Logan Pauls down, guys. Just need 250 more. Here we go. Let's finish it up. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. This is actually getting kind of hard. I can't even say his fucking name. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. Last 10. Logan Paul, 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 Logan Paul. And that is 100 marks on that sheet. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 all the way across on each row. That's 100 times 10 is 1,000 Logan Pauls. Join my fucking clan, Kerim.